Good afternoon. My name is Marc, and I founded Alertgy back in 2016. I woke one morning, a Sunday morning, and noticed that my wife, who was a nurse at the time, wasn't in bed. She was up, which is unusual because she used to use Sundays to catch up on her sleep. So I called her name, and there was no answer. So I walked over to the living room, and she's sitting on the couch, just staring into space. And I go, "Good morning, Sue." And there's no response. And I realized that she's having a low blood sugar, and I need to do something about it, like right now. So I went to the fridge and I got some orange juice, and I made her drink it. And about 15 minutes later, she came to. She just looked at me and goes, "Marc, where am I?" And I said, "Sue, you're home. You're okay. You just had a low blood sugar attack." Well, that wasn't okay. You know, my father had died from diabetes, 1 foot at a time amputated, but that was different because I didn't live with him. I didn't see what he had because it was late onset diabetes. But this affected me because I was responsible for her. We had 4 children, and she had gestational diabetes with each one, and at the last one, it never went away, and it just got worse and worse. I decided, after I did the research and found there was nothing out there that would alert people if their loved ones are in a similar situation, that was something that was necessary. And that's why I founded Alertgy. I was the Director of Engineering for Stanford Research Institute's Marine and Space Technology Group. And as such, I worked on projects with DARPA, Special Operations Command, and some other entities that were specifically interested in electromagnetic sensors and seawater applications, something that's really critical for us right now in the Pacific Rim. Little did I realize that the technologies I developed for the government would be the answer to something that we have not been able to yet figure out. 30 years of failure. But it turns out the materials technologies that we developed, some of the sensor technologies we developed, were a solution to solving the problem. I had no clue the size of this problem in the world, that, you know, there's 420 million people in the world that we know that are diabetic, and a whole bunch more that don't know they're diabetic. And the numbers are increasing every day. 1/3 of our population right now is borderline diabetic. That's a scary thing. This is a technology that we have now. It's based on chemistry. 30-year-old chemistry, a blood oxidase reaction that has some 42 known interferences. It's good, it helps us, it's really helped a lot of people, but it's not the best that could be. The solution is to create a device that's totally non-invasive, that you don't have to think about, that basically tells you if you need to know that your blood sugar is too high or too low, or if you want to know what it is, tells you what it is and tells you what the trend is, so you know that you're going in the right direction and you can take appropriate steps to keep your blood sugar stable. Basically, it's powered by an AI interface. The analytics are done through the cloud using a Google platform. All those things have been developed and are working today. Basically, what we do is project an RF field into the body. The body actually becomes part of the antenna, if you will. And we're able to get around skin effects and a lot of the other problems that similar technologies faced in the past. And are able to get a good signal for blood glucose and other things, but blood glucose is what we're focused on right now. What I've been able to do from the time I started the company is take a technology in the universities that relied on humongous refrigerator-sized spectrometers and reduced it down to a spectrometer that's the size of a cell phone that can be mounted on the bottom of a wrist, and it's used in clinical applications. It was something I could afford to do because I didn't have to build an ASIC chip or anything else. The next generation will require that, and we're working with some very world-famous chip development companies like IMEC, which is an organization, and some others to start that work. We've achieved a lot. I've generated $2.3 million in equity-based financing, a seed round at $1.3 million. And right now I'm doing a bridge round. I've closed $1 million of $2 million, and that'll get us through the trials that we're doing right now and get us set up for a Series A round to take it forward and miniaturize and get the FDA testing. We reduced the biggest technical risks, which is reducing the sensor size down to a 38 millimeter by 38 millimeter patch with an ultra-wideband sensor in the megahertz range. That's pretty incredible. The platform is working. Everything's working. We just won a big contract from the U.S. Army through the Flex program to develop a wristband platform for other sensors that are being used to monitor troop health in combat situations. We're doing trials right now at Complete Care and also Cleveland Clinic. We graduated as the first cohort in the Cleveland Clinic Accelerator Program. The preliminary data looks very, very good. For a CMG, it's really good. If you look at the numbers, where we need to be compared to the people that are FDA qualified right now, which we haven't gone through that yet, but that's next on the agenda. The principle has been very well proven. The science is there. I didn't invent the science. I just made it a practical solution to the problem. Ben Freer, who wrote his master's degree thesis in electrical engineering, is our sensor engineer. And he pretty much wrote a book on it, and everyone's welcome to read it, and I'd be happy to share that information with anyone that's interested in understanding the core technologies. The biggest testimony to us was having the founder of Dexcom, Dr. John Berg, come to our facility and said, Mark, I don't believe you. No one's been able to do this. I can't believe that you've done this. And we sat him down, and we tested him on the device, and we showed him the results, and he looked at me and says, son of a gun, you've done something I've wanted to do back, 20-some years ago, and you figured it out. And so he wrote me a check and invested in our company, and is on our board of directors and our strongest advocate. We believe that we can get a 510K approval through the FDA with the right FDA consultants. Worst case, we may have to do a PMA. But going through clinical trials is really just a matter of having the right people working with you and understanding the process and giving the government what they want. All the founders that I have with the company are people that I've worked with in the past on impossible projects. And one person is my sister, who is my chief medical officer. She has a PhD from Duke in biomedical engineering, MD from University of Florida, Fulbright Fellow, NATO Fellow. And then I guess she went for her residency and did her MPH at Johns Hopkins at the same time. By the time she graduated, she was in her 40s, but she basically is board certified in preventive medicine, and she's mostly excited about doing something about the 1/3 of the population that's borderline, helping the transition. We have a world-class advisory board covering everything that we need, from ethics all the way to business to design. Everything is fully scalable. It's a pretty simple approach on the business side. It's one of the few businesses I've had where I don't have to explain how I'm going to make money. We are alone. If you look at the competitive landscape, we have the ability to measure blood, not interstitial, but blood glucose real time, non-invasively. I don't think anyone else can do that at this time. A lot of great traction. We were recognized most recently at by NASA as having the most advanced technologies in this area. And they're looking at potentially using our technology to monitor astronauts for signs of radiation sickness on long space missions. And we're also looking at being able to monitor bone and muscle loss as these astronauts do their missions, and also body fluid shifts that occur in some people that cause problems with vision. We won a coveted NOLA challenge for diabetes. Blue Cross Blue Shield awarded us #1 prize and told us that they're going to be backing us as we go do more pilot studies and everything down the road. Our forecast is conservative here, but there's really no reason that we can't be extremely successful, especially if we get the strategic partnerships we need to move this forward. So we're looking for people to invest in us and also strategically become involved. We'd like to have someone that's in the business help us take us to market. This is what a true paradigm shift really looks like, and I'm really excited about it and what we can do to help people in this planet with diabetes. Thank you so much.